guarantees in the pursuit of success. Winning in racing hinges on a number of elements, some of which are completely out of the driver's and team's control. From cars and track conditions to a driver's mental and physical preparation, a large number of factors are constantly at play. For Mantella Autosport, the first race of the season brought a respectful finish, but it had more than its fair share of adversity. Time heals disappointment, and with over a month passed since Daytona, the team heads into the second race of the season with their sights set high. One of the most historic venues on the circuit is Sebring International Raceway, a track that offers drivers a completely different feel than the previous race at Daytona.
For American sports car racing, it was really the dawn that Sebring came about. It was an old military base, closed down after World War II, and they made good use of it, thankfully, and made a race car track out of it. AJ Foyt and Mario Andretti, a lot of our heroes have raced here and made it what it is.
It's one of the toughest racetracks in North America for sure. It's one of the most physical. It just puts cars through a lot.
There's bumps, there's cracks, there's joining old asphalt to concrete to pavement. There's all kinds of transitions out there.
Daytona wasn't the best track for the Camaro. It's a very, very high-speed circuit, and we're not the most aerodynamic, efficient car. But Sebring definitely suits the Camaro a little bit better. It's a technical track, as I've said, and there's a lot of low-speed, torquey corners, a lot of heavy brake zones, and that's kind of where we strive.
Coming into Sebring, we knew that the Camaro Z28R was going to be rock solid.
This car is what I grew up on, this car is what I'm comfortable in, and yeah, I think it is really starting to show on the track as well.
The team is really getting used to the Chevrolet Camaros, and we're coming along with the help of Andrew engineering the car, him getting used to the car as well, and what the car needs and what the drivers need. We're progressing well.
Coming into this weekend, our goal was qualifying. Martin usually sets his best times in the race, and we really needed to improve qualifying. We needed to start a little further up the grid.
I knew what I had to do, and I was very fortunate and got out there and did it in 2 laps. P6 when I parked the car in the pit, and after letting the other guys do their thing, we ended up with a P9 starting position.
Qualifying, it looked like it was going to start out well. We were right behind the Stevenson cars, and they're always fast, so I could kind of have them as a rabbit, but there were some competitors behind that had a better idea to try and get ahead of us.
2, 3, 4 laps is about all you'll get on the tire of really good pace, and I'd say pretty much every one of those had some traffic in it. So I know that Anthony did an awesome job. I know that he had a little bit more in it, and he would have liked to show them that.
Luckily, on the 3rd lap, I got an 18.9 in, which brought me in at 11th, and I start right behind Martin, so it should be fun. Of course, a couple hours before the race, you get more focused, the adrenaline starts to pump. Maybe you take a quiet moment and think about the track and what could happen, and the race, there's so many variables that I kind of just put it out of my mind and just go and do it.
We we've prepared, we've tested, we're ready, but you just never know. So I do feel confident that if all goes to plan, we'll get a good result, but things could be over in the first corner.
Ten races spread throughout the year put immense pressure on teams to secure as many points as possible on every race weekend. There are no days off and no competitors taken lightly.
The start was quite a battle. There was cars everywhere. There was no defined line of where to go. Luckily, I came out right behind Martin again like we planned. Our plan was to go down into corner 7 together if we could get that far, and it worked out. And Martin just took off from me.
I'm very pleased with how Martin Barkey drove the first stint. You know, he's come a long way. After qualifying P9, I think he found himself as high as P6, and then he made a small error, dropped back to P11.
There was a GS car I was battling with. He in turn was putting some moves on an ST car at the last minute, and I thought I'd go around both of them at the same time. It didn't work out in my favor.
By the time we made our pit stop for driver change at about the 1 hour mark into the race, Martin had handed the car over to me in P10.
Anthony, you know, in the race today just did a great job. He pushed pretty hard, you know, he had a good car under him, you know, he showed great pace and obviously even got up as high as, you know, taking a restart from the lead, which was pretty awesome.
Just through attrition, my stint in the race was the best I've ever achieved. I was right up to first place at one point with the driver changes.
We had a little bit of adversity. We had a little bit of a tough pit stop. We didn't get super lucky on when we pitted, so we lost a fair bit of track position. And unfortunately, with how competitive the Continental Tire field is, you know, we had some work to do to catch up.
A caution had come out just after our driver change, which was around the 1 hour mark. I knew our tires were better than the field ahead of us by about 5 laps. I was super aggressive, and we made up 5 spots in 2 laps. It brought us up from P9 or P10 up to P4.
It ended up about the last 30, maybe 35 minutes that he just basically ran a fuel conservative type strategy, guaranteeing us and making sure we kept their P4.
We did make up some good spots, and then you know, we elected to take a gamble to try to make up even more spots.
Took 2 tires on the next tire stop, and Mark held off his competition pretty well, just because of the heat and the Sebring track. Mark did the best he could with 2 tires.
That call was, I think, a tough one to make on a really hot, greasy track on, you know, a car that, you know, really works super, super well on awesome tires.
From the engineering to the tire guys to the mechanics, it was, you know, it's definitely a team effort, and that's why we finished 4th and 7th.
As the season goes on, there will undoubtedly be both highs and lows. Races that exceed expectations and ones that test every individual involved. Even though a championship is what fuels every driver to compete, all the teams, regardless of how successful they are, will walk away with friendships that last a lifetime.
So Mantella Autosport is 2 years old, and you wouldn't think so. You know, if you were just anybody, showed up and just kind of observed our team, you know, we're just a bunch of friends in a way.
More than just a driving relationship or what was a coaching relationship as well. Kyle and I have become very, very good friends. My, how time flies, but we learn a lot, having a blast doing it, and hopefully we get to do it for many more.
I don't think that I'd ever want to drive with another driver. As long as Mark's willing to drive with me, he's always going to be my driver. Like 2 kids, you know, it's that much fun.
I mean, whether it's on a snowmobile somewhere in the north or, you know, in a race car together or out for dinner or whatever it is, we're always laughing and always having a great time, and I guess that's totally what it's all about.
With valuable and important points secured, the team looks towards the next race at Laguna Seca in hopes of progressing even further.